Welcome to Drawing with Lord Karnage. What I'm working on today is the back cover for the print edition of Retromegatrex Volume 1, which will be live by the time that you watch this video. And I did the front cover for the Kindle version a couple weeks ago up on Amazon, and now I'm going to work with my sketch on the back cover. And Retromegatrex is a 15-page mashup. I think it's 15-page mashup of all of my characters from the past 20 years, as well as it's a 200-page book. So a collection of my work from the 90s and early 2000s. Squid, Cosmic Death Brick, Vectronics 9000, Surf Panda, Bolfar, Ethel the Cyborg Ninja, Lord Karnage, Captain Kolledge, Brothers Shabazz, Win Squid, Edit Station 1, the Happy Dancing Keg from Planet X40, and of course, Heyzoos the Coked-Up Chicken. Over here we've got the Space Tentacle Eyeball Monster, Roy and Sally from Mass Media, Haylee Davenworth, and Hunter Skywolf from Magnum Skywolf, the Magnum 9000 Space Gar. That's Arrow flying in the background, and the Sword of Oceans. So, quite a bit of stuff going into this cover, and it's in color, which is unusual for me, but for a cover, obviously, I think you want it to be color. So, let's dig in and work out the inks over here. As I've showed before, I work in many layers. I started with an iPad sketch, went to a slightly more refined Photoshop sketch, and now I'm going to start laying down inks. And obviously I've got to tie the cover in with the front cover and make room for the spine with the title on the spine, make room for the UPC and all that fun stuff. Alright, Retromegatrex. For the past couple months I've had a lot of questions about digital drawing and publishing, so I'll try to address things a little bit more in depth, but obviously there's a wide variety of tools out there. I'm familiar with Photoshop. I've been using Photoshop for forever, since it was new, and I'm going to do an inks pass too on this. My guess is there'll be more than one ink layer. In digital drawing, I mean, it helps if you can draw on paper, I think, first of all, but the benefit with digital is, of course, flexibility. So you can really oops, wrong layer. You can make infinite changes, especially if you're publishing stuff. It's good to have flexibility. So this is unusual here. I'm tying in two drawings together. I'm just going to start with an ink. So I'm on a separate layer from this layer. This one's pretty much done. I may add one or two things onto the Vectronics screen for the print version, and I got to extend out to the bleed area, but that'll just take a few minutes. So let's think here. How this might work. His arm is going to come out here. And this is the spine, so I'm trying not to put a whole lot of important work there. I'm just going to say the title down the side here. So the first thing I'm doing on this is just making sure I can tie two things together. And as you see, I made a number of changes from the sketch anyway. So the sketch is not exactly a one-to-one, but I'm using it as my reference point here. Now, like I said, this drawing is a little strange because I'm combining numerous things. I popped out that other layer I was just working on, and I'm going to just draw Roy, who was the main character of the strip that I was working on for syndication 20 years ago, who I don't like. And of course, he is a main part of the mashup story. Too big. As all the characters get together. Cosmic Death Brick is messing around with space-time continuum and creates his own universe and summons all of my characters together into the same room. And a number of them, like Brother Shabazz and Hunter Skywolf, get along fabulously since they're both basically from the 70s. get that hair right. There we go. Captain Kolledge offends everyone and hits on the girls. Lord Karnage yells at things. Sounds like the coffee is done upstairs. Oh, that's right. Hang on. He does not. He wears a collared shirt in this. I changed it. Collared shirt. Extra lame. Hate collars. The fact that he wears a collar warrants his doom. There you go. You see, that's one of the things I like about digital. I like pretty much everything about digital. It did take a full year, as I write in the book, to get used to digital drawing, but in the end, I couldn't imagine doing it any other way at this point. I still do some pen and ink work for custom jobs, but not very often. That would be very strange. Have a giant eyeball just staring at you like that. Alright, you can see this is starting to come together now. I'm concentrating on these two characters, and I'm going to start building in a few of the other characters. And then at the end I'll worry about making sure that they line up exactly, and I'll merge the layers and obviously carry the same color scheme through. But let's turn on the next layer over here and start on these four. And I will do the background last. Of course, Sally's using a late 90s cell phone, which is because these characters are from the late 90s. And that is what they know. Cell phones and CRT computer screens and fax machines. Oh yeah, remember fax machines? This is where I'm at the moment, and I just did Spacecar. Going to now work on the volcano, some more of the tentacles down here. I don't want the bottom to be too busy, and the Magnum 9000 helicopter, and the colors. And hopefully we should be close to done here. Here's the Magnum 9000, and actually I have a model of this that I use for photo work. If I go over here to a sketch that I did of Magnum 9000 a little while ago, you can see that this is a clay model that I built so that I take photos of it and then I draw it, and it's always consistent. It's a great way to get things done right as quickly as possible when you're doing work like this. It's good for the vehicles. I'm a big fan of using model work for the vehicles. Since they're my own designs, I don't feel bad about doing it like this. Frequently use model work also for any drawings of hands, because you want to get your hands done right. But I'm going to draw this with the intent of coloring. That up here is darker on the top and lighter on the bottom. So if you're below the thing while it's bombing you, it looks more like the sky. That's my rationale for that. Alright, first thing I did was merge the layers, and of course save another version of the file. I'm going to probably do this in chunks. So that I can see what I'm dealing with. This is not a normal thing that I do. Actually, I don't work in color very often. I don't mind doing color if it's cartoony, but I'm not terribly good at doing like real comic book style coloring. It's not my strong point. I have very little practice, very little experience doing that. Cartoon color like Heyzoos or Surf Panda or something like this, I can do this. Alright, moving along here, continuing with color. Here's the first draft of the colors. I'm going to put the title in the middle now. Sit on it for a little bit. I'll put some color in the phone. Remember those old phones? They were like a really dull beige. Like that. Hunter Skywolf is the pilot. He was a helicopter pilot in Vietnam, frozen in Antarctica after a crash landing during a mission. And she's, you know, like modern era. So it's a good back and forth between someone who has no idea what cell phones do and a modern person. He actually thinks cell phones are a commie plot, so he won't use them. He must. The only phones he'll use have wires. That's right. I gotta do the edge here. Retromegatrex, fun title. I like that. That'll be the series where I continue to mash up everything, because it was tons of fun to write. Just a lot of fun. Cosmic Deathbrick was actually the star of it. Is actually the star of it. And the Space Tentacle Eyeball Monster. They're kind of the lead characters of that series. And Sally has a fun role to play. It's possible that these two might have more in common than you might expect.